the television, which lit the bottles stacked behind the bar with a faint white glow. Stale smells of beer and cigarettes thickened the air along with the sharp pine fragrance of Lysol. The bartender wore a plaid fleece vest over a t-shirt. The coaster beneath Abe's glass advertised Budweiser. The mirror hanging on the door to the kitchen had been painted over with red, white, and blue stripes. Nothing makes complete sense, Abe thought, and yet in theory everything has a logical explanation. Reason assumes a cause for every consequence, birth marking the beginning of the end, the child becoming the widower who is left behind to do the work of remembering. At least an old man can reward himself with a tepid beer after enduring a long morning alone in his apartment. He can hope that tonight he'll win at bingo. He can think about his wife in heaven. Hearing a sharp yapping, he looked around for the dog. But it turned out that the dog was a terrier yapping gratefully for his gourmet food on the television. Abe considered how easily he'd been fooled. The trick of false reality. Where does the truth begin? He wanted to ask. He found himself imagining that the interior of Jeremiah's was a stage set and the play was his own life story. The problem was, he hadn't read the script. He could only fumble along trying to guess the best next line. Actually, he had a knack for improvisation. He remembered how Edna used to watch his antics with her hand clapped over her mouth to keep herself from laughing too loudly. Just the thought of his wife holding back her laughter brightened the gloom. But when he heard the ringing of a telephone on the TV, he was reminded of his loneliness. And when he noticed that the clock on the wall in front of him had no hands, he decided it was time to leave. "I owe you," Abe began, but stopped short when the bartender held up his open palm in a gesture suggesting refusal. Or was he simply expressing contempt? "Excuse me," said Abe, perplexed. "Merry Christmas," offered the bartender in a defeated voice. "It's February," Abe pointed out. "Anyway, I don't celebrate Christmas." "Then happy birthday." "Is this a joke?" "The thing is," the bartender said, "I've been thinking." "You were watching the TV." "I was watching the TV and thinking. And I thought to myself, if I stay in this dump another day, I'll die. But I don't want to die. I want to quit. So I'm going to quit." "What are you saying?" Abe asked. "It's on the house, is what I'm saying." "Hey, you idiots," the bartender called to the bikers. "I'm telling you, it's on the house." One of the bikers thrust his cue into the center of the dartboard hanging on the wall and broke the stick in half. "Hallelujah!" he shouted as the bartender reached for the tap to a keg. This certainly wasn't how old Abe had expected to end the day, celebrating at a party with a man who had decided to quit his job. And what a party it turned out to be. It was a party thrown in honor of spontaneity and renewal and courage, a party as uncontainable as a riot, with the guests multiplying when the waitress arrived for the dinner shift, along with 2 college friends, 2 girls who just finished taking a chemistry exam and were ready to unwind, and then the Chihuahua Tigers men's softball team and various others off the street who'd heard that the house grog at Jeremiah's was free for the night and came to drink and trade stories about bad dates, flat tires, local bands, body piercing, novelty drugs, probations, rock climbings, and miraculous escapes. It was a deafening, joyous party. And Abraham Groslick sat contentedly on a bar stool in the center of the crowd, understanding almost nothing that was said to him, yet having the time of his life. Parties are great, aren't they? Writing is such a solitary thing. Some of you out there are writers. I know, to have Christina as a teacher is a fortunate, wonderful, inspiring thing for you. But it's basically a really private endeavor. So is reading, and it's wonderful that it is. And yet, we long for chance to be communal, to be shared. So there I am sitting alone in my attic thinking, damn, I wish I was at a party right now. Or damn, I wish I was in the theater right now. Life goes on for Abe after that. That's just a middle section. Let's see what time we're at. We're at 10 of 8. I thought I'd just try out. This is gaseous water. I don't know if I should. Should I dare it? Like old Abe with my belt. So I thought I'd try out some new work, if that's okay. Just a few pages of a novel that I'm trying to write about river. You might kind of recognize no, actually you wouldn't, because this part of it doesn't involve much local detail, but the rivers around here intrigue me. We overlook them. We drive over them. We throw our trash in them. We pour our sewage into them, but they're very important to us. And so with this novel, what I've tried to do is follow a river. Follow a woman who's following a river over the course of her life. The woman's name is Sally Werner. The novel's title is Sally Werner. And this is just what might be an opening. It's early on. Touch your fingertip against a bubble. Feel the pop of cold. Cold, clear water squeezed from subterranean stone. Water seeping into the spring, filling the basin, spilling over the mossy lip of shale, flowing with a persistence peculiar to rivers, tumbling down a gentle series of plateaus, up and over a hillock and down, down, down for 300 miles to the lake. Here at the spring that is the source of the Tusky. Look around. Balance on your knees against a stone rim. Cup the water in your hands and drink. Splish, splash. Brr. Drip. 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 See the different paw prints pressed in rich mud. Fat muskrat scooting away and back again. Wood sparrow bathing in the shallows. Carcasses of yesterday's mayflies spinning with the current. Slugs and worms, snakes and frogs hidden in the muck. Gurgling source of life. Good plain water bubbling up out of the earth, widening into a lazy meadow stream, gathering depth and momentum along its descent. Clear current stirring silt into a dusky brown, stirring brown into a frothy yellow, filling irrigation ditches, powering mills and factories, carving gorges out of limestone, cascading over stone ledges, running through a dam's diversions, flowing past fields and houses, picking up sewage and chemical waste and runoff from the roads, ripening into a thick red before spilling out into the lake. Help! What was that? Roar of the falls, splashing shoals, raindrops piercing the surface on a cold November day. A single spot of foam traveling along the water's surface, disappearing between ripples, sliding forward, splitting and converging in serpentines. There it goes. There and there. Have you ever heard the story of the Tuskies? They were little creatures said to have the faces and hair of humans and the spotted bodies of salamanders. Hatched deep inside the earth, they squirmed from the molten center, through cracks in the sediment, up into the aquifer, and finally, when they were full grown, they were spit out with the fresh water into the spring and swam downriver in search of mates. The natives believed them to be the sacred incarnations of fate, begot in the underworld for the sole purpose of multiplying possibility in the world. Their goodwill could be cultivated simply by being